You are listening to Let's Go, the weekly anime podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
Howdy.
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of July the 8th to July the 14th, 2023. Starting with Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead, Episode 1, Akira of the Dead. That's right, it's another zombie show that has watched Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead and 28 amount of times later. You know, your modern zombie thing. And by modern, I mean, how old are those fucking films now? Like 10 years or
20 years or so, yeah, something like that.
I know. I got to bring your kind of World War Z in there as well. You know,
Yeah.
Look at like floods of zombies, you know, washing through the city.
And from watching the opening, which will appear on the next episode, there's some different colour choices that want you to call to mind your favourable feelings you have for the last big Japanese zombie movie, One Cut of the Dead.
okay.
I checked the colour choices on the comic, and I was like, oh, those colour choices aren't there on the comic. A lot of the colour choices on the comic are in the show with the sort of the Technicolor blood splatter. But yeah, the particular choice of yellow that they use in the opening next week, I was like, someone wants you to remember your good feelings you have towards One Cut of the Dead. Not that it needs to, because this is a very well-made show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping, like, this, obviously the start of it is dour, but it's trying to establish the zombie apocalypse is the best thing that could have happened this guy.
In comparison to what I was doing, this is, way off my mind.
This is an improvement, yeah. Thank goodness the world ended. Phew. That makes my life so much easier. Or what little life I have left, yeah.
Yes, thank goodness he's not working for ZLM. Definitely not OLM, the producers of another show we'll be talking about next.
No.
There's the one scene in particular was the one which felt like ripped out of the animation industry, the one where he's having to deal with the call where the guy wants them to suddenly rewrite something within hours.
Yeah. Because it's an advertising company, I think, is the thing. Yeah.
Down to 5 versions already. I was saying, well, we'll just have to take it to another company that will live on. No, please, we'll take it, we'll do it. And I imagine that conversation playing out across many similar companies.
Yeah. It seems like a great place to work. He's just out of school. He's been set up in a good place. Everyone's super fucking chill. It's like, you don't need to wear a tie in this place. We're a lot lax on that kind of stuff. Come on, we'll take you out for drinks. And it's like, wow, this is really nice. And I really like the secretary. Oh, man, this place is going to work out great. And then they're all like, well, back to work. And they put all the Leonards. It's like, we only went out to drink to pull another all-nighter, basically.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I was working in Stanford, and a guy who was in our company left and went to work for EMAP in Peterborough, the magazine company. And when he finally quit that job and came back to work with us, he explained like how the first week there, everything's like great and is chummy, just like they go out for the drinks here, make you feel like it's the best place to work. And then it's just deadlines and sales targets immediately in the second week, and just a miserable life.
I presume the going out for drinks is just the party of, hey, we got a new guy to burn the fuck out to replace the other people that we burnt out. Fantastic. We'll have a little party.
Or meat for the meat grinder.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh dear.
Yeah. It's fucking bleak, you know, and it's kind of for a bit going, over like, no. Who are the real zombies here? Is it you, living person, with this miserable day-to-day existence? Take back your brain.
Are you really living life? Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to go into work today due to zombie apocalypse? Yeah.
So he spends 3 years at this job, convincing himself initially convincing himself that he'd be worse off elsewhere, and then eventually cursing the protection on the underground that's prevented him from throwing himself in front of a train. But luckily, as you say, everything is saved as a zombie apocalypse, which has been breaking out in the background. That was the very Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, you could see like the newscast, but he was like too fucking lethargic to notice that the world was slowly ending when it suddenly started very quickly ending. Yeah.
Yes, once he figures everything out, that he doesn't have to go to work, he decides he's going to go and admit his crush on the CEO's mistress, who's the only person kind to him at work. And so he races across town to find her. Instead finds the CEO turned into a zombie, and he uses his rugby skills, which has been one of the first things we learn about him. He did rugby at university to push, and also the CEO seems to like change into a more bigger, threatening zombie. So I don't know whether we're going to get
it's some kind of fucking Resident Evil style one as well. Yeah. And what's really
Resident Evil or Left 4 Dead or one of those super zombie type situations.
What's really gross and unsettling is you can see the venom of it kind of traveling up the veins, and it's just the way they've kind of pulsated. It feels very tactile and unsettling. And
But the way he rugby tackles the guy through a window, I'm like knocking the guy through the window, not himself. Is just like taking off the ties. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to have to say it right now. You're gonna have to do without me. I resign.
Well, cross one off the list right there. Told off your boss and threw him out a window.
He also gets the second one off his list, I assume, of confessed your feelings to that girl you fancied for 3 years but didn't do anything about. She has also been zombified, so he has to tearfully run away from her after confessing. He's just like, I'll never see her again because she's a zombie now. But I mean, like, you got it off your chest, basically, so you're good.
Yeah, and he's made his mind. He's going to go. He goes to a convenience store, steals a pen, and
no, he pays for it. He leaves the money.
Yeah, he leaves the money because he's a nerd. Yes. He's a fucking nerd.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that bit. He corrected. He pays for a pen and a notebook, and he starts his 100 things to do before I get turned into a zombie. And I presume that is now the plot of the book and the plot of the show.
Yeah,
like it could be shite because there's so many bad fucking zombie things. To be fair, like there's more bad than good. And it's just like, okay, here we go, and it's very depressing at the start. But it does look very well. It's very well directed. I like the way it kind of starts with him like living in squalor, like with the bags of rubbish around his apartment, and then it's like, how did he get to that point? And we walk through the very slow, depressing process of that.
Does not have the energy to take out the bin when he gets home.
He's only coming home to collapse after pulling 3 all-nighters, basically. Yeah.
You're doing this episode most in and of itself as just like a single piece of one. So you don't need to know what happens in your after though. Just like, it just functions as this whole like fucking just toy about the fun and bleak nature of this kind of work, and then it's like, what it pushes you down so low that the fucking imminent like extinction of our species is like, oh, thank goodness. Oh, jeez, don't go to work.
It's about damn time.
Yeah. But like, it's great, and it just like it takes, really kind of the penny drops. It's just like, that's it, and then like all the filters are thrown off, it explodes into color, and zombies are pouring out everywhere, and they're spraying all kinds of goo, where it's all done in
the goo is all rainbow colored, and like it's still gross, but it's trying to go like, this is great, this is exciting, this is new and different.
This paintball match has gotten way out of hand.
Hey, and if you can't get enough of this, there's a live action version coming to Netflix on August 3rd.
Let's go into
fucking we just started this one. What the fuck?
The multimedia sensation.
I assume we're gonna, as this one's called Akira the Dead, I wonder if we're gonna get like additional episodes later on to introduce the other survivors who we'll meet and like start their story from similar spots. Oh, your connection's gone really
like different
bad,
zombie
Wayne.
types. Great.
I obviously a bit more like Last Man on Earth like style. Well, this is like indulge our most hedonistic impulses, early on, and then we'll get like to the harder stuff on the list, like make a friend, and it's a bit more doing.
Okay. Don't worry too much about that, right? It may have been my fault. I've fixed what could have been my problem. But yes, great first episode. Probably the best first episode this season, I would say.
It's open and strong. Yeah.
It's just strongly directed. Like I said, it could be just it could be a half-hour little piece in and of itself, and with no lead on after it, and it's just like it would have been great. It would have been like it's its own little thing. That could be enough for some people.
Yeah.
So we're something else which had a great first episode, and then foolishly put it as episode 2. But that'll be later on this show. We do have another first episode right now from OLM, the people who seem to be having the shade thrown at them in Zom 100. It's Dark Gathering, episode 1, the Yayoi Hozuki. In another spooky show. So in those zombies, we open with a sight of a small girl smashing a statue with a crowbar. And then we get the opening credits.
Wow, what a bold iconoclast.
She's breaking one of those little shrine statues that you see people make, like the little hats for when it's snowing, that kind of thing.
So.
Yes.
She's breaking it off for later, because we're going to need this.
Also, she's got very strange eyes. Which will
I do appreciate that at some point her mom took her to the doctor to go like, hey, my child now has like 2 pupils in each eye. Is that bad? And it's like, well, she's getting a little double vision, but we'll keep an eye on it. No pun intended, and we'll keep on it. And I was like, they're also little skulls. Are you noticing that bit? Like, because that's weird too.
Well, that's not like medically significant here, sir. I'm sorry.
So we then follow our main character, Ketaro Gentoga, who's just entering university. He had the best score on the entrance exam, so he gets to do the incoming speech. And also joining him at the university is his good friend, Eiko. We notice that Ketaro has a black glove on one hand, just like as if he was Hell Teacher Nube. And his best friend has gloves on both of her hands. He had a supernatural accident with a dark spirit that affected him and his friend, who I guess is Eiko.
Same hair color.
Yes.
And presumably, he's being the not valedictorian, but he's been the best student. Is all the more impressive because he spent 2 years out of school because he was so traumatized by this incident. But she got him back to studying and getting him into a decent course. And it's like, wow, we're going on the same college course. What a coincidence. So he's being like a home tutor for.
You get a part-time job, I guess, some scratch tutoring. Yeah. It was. We got one of our best young candidates here. She's very, very bright. This needs a little bit of extra direction. But okay, that's good. And then he goes up to the hospital and saying, "Oh, Kento, Eiko, what are you doing here? Yeah, what a big coincidence. You must be here for my cousin. Oh, okay, here she is right now. Oh my God, and look at her eyes.
She's a weird little kid. And when she is the first thing she suggests him is like, come on, we're going to go to a haunted phone booth. And he's like, no. And she's like, all right, I'm ringing up your supervisor and telling them you're saying inappropriate things to me, a little girl. So he does. He's coerced into going basically to a haunted phone booth.
Yes, this is where a murder happened. Just one real bloody affair, and her ghost haunts the phone booth to this day.
It's more haunted than a regular phone booth. Yeah.
Also, before they go though, when he first meets her, she's holding this toy rabbit that he says that he sees.
You say holding, I would say strangling.
Well, she's not strangling it until it starts frightening Kotaro, because he says it's haunted.
That's true.
It's her. It's the bear making her be mean to me, and so she starts throttling the rabbit. So they go. The phone booth is being haunted by the ghost of a hostess who swindled a load of her customers out of all their money, and so they chased her into the phone booth and murdered her. And what's the conditions of the people die when they go in the phone booth? And
If you go into it, or if you use the phone, or if you if you answer the phone or receive a call from that phone booth, it will get you. It's got a lot of bases covered.
The easiest way is if you ring the phone booth, and he's like, "Well, that's not too bad. Like, who has the number of the phone booth?" And the little girl's like, "Everyone, check it out. They put it up online." It's like, "Oh, well, I guess that's pretty bad then." And they're like, "Okay, who's gonna call the thing?" And he's like, "Well, if I interact with anything spooky, I'm 100% gonna get spooked. So I'll do it to protect you," kind of thing. He's being self-sacrificing about it, but there's stuff about that later. And he rings up the phone booth, and wouldn't you know it, the ghost does a spooking. So I think at that point they leave, but your one tosses the is that the point where she tosses the doll in like a grenade into the booth?
Yeah.
And the doll explodes in a fountain of blood.
That could have been you.
Very sensibly, let's leave at this point in time. Yeah.
Yes. Then they go a bit more back and forth, and then we get an explanation of because he's mad at the little girl. And then Eiko explains, like, oh, the reason she's staying with us is because her parents died in a car crash with a truck. And then we later see that the ghost of the mother has been carried off by what looks like a ghost egg being fertilized by ghost sperm.
I could have done without all of those visuals. That was fucking gross. It was disgusting. Like, not in a way that's like, oh, good job, you've spooked me. I was just like, no, this is just vile. I don't like it.
It was unsettling to be sure. And like we see, like her father's like spirit is still there in the family grave, but it's like now she's made her mission to hunt down all the ghosts and get her mammy's soul back. So it doesn't like ghosts. Like one bit.
And in hearing the story, Katara says, "Okay, I'll do anything to help her." And then Yayoi overhears this,
anything,
and so convinces them to go back to the phone booth because apparently the ghost has put her on block, and she's got a mobile phone in a plastic bag, which is dripping with blood.
Yeah.
And it's revealed by the end that the real problem. So Yoi is after ghosts and capturing them in plush animals. And the reason she's latched onto Katara is because ghosts are attracted to him, whereas with her, they flee from her.
Yeah, possibly because she's trapping ghosts inside dolls. Like she's cut off she's destroyed the phone booth essentially, but like I guess trapped the ghost in the receiver of the phone.
Yeah.
And implanted that into the back of the doll, the stuffed toy, and is then putting that in the room with all our other stuffed dolls, which are also big. And I've forgotten the term they use, but it's like, do you know what this term is? And it's like, it's where you put a bunch of poisonous bugs in a fucking jar, and whichever one is alive is the most potent poison. So that's what we're doing. We're feeding this ghost to the ghost to see who's the strongest ghost. Which is why all the ghosts avoid her like the fucking plague.
Yes, because when they go, she gives Kataro a statue to protect him, which she has covered in Eiko's tights that she was wearing the day before. Yeah. And then, like, you took that, you like that. It doesn't offer it. The ghost is too. We would offer him protection, but the ghost is too strong, so he ends up being throttled by the wire on the handset. And so then this is the reveal that not only does she have the crowbar from the opening, she also is carrying a little scythe with her in her back, and she uses to force her way into the phone booth, picks up the statue, and then uses that to smash the telephone, and then uses the scythe to cut the handset, and then puts it in the bear she's brought with her. And then
I guess the ghost is in the telephone, but it's currently in the receiver as well. So if you smash that, it's now trapped in the receiver.
It's like how to trap the electric in the phone if you put it on hold. It makes perfect sense when you think about it for like 1 second, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so it explains that I need to go back to the phone booth tomorrow because there's nothing there anymore. Because it's in her room with all the other ghosts that she's caught. being torn apart by them by the looks of things.
Yeah. And she's a professional on a mission. She just shows up to the job with the full tool set. And just the fucking the relentless, like, emotionless, like, professional. She's like a fucking contract killer of spirits.
Yeah, and she's also the funniest character in the show. And I don't know if this is in the original script or it's in translation, but they do a pretty good job of like making her dialogue seem like a generation apart from the two adults. Because when he's like, "Oh, can you see ghosts?" and she's like, "Yeah, I see them in 4K."
Okay, little kid, sure.
Yeah, it's like the little turns of phrase like sets the age difference apart. And I mean, yeah, she's got an IQ of 160, but she didn't used to have. It was only after the car crash it became 160, and then that also let her vision merge. So she no longer had double vision. It was like combined ghost vision and real world vision.
I'm seeing the ghosts in real time with the other thing rather than seeing them separated. Yeah.
And we get that Aiko can't see ghosts is mentioned, but then the final payoff with Aiko is that she points out to Katao, "No, you say you don't like scary things, but I saw the look of your face. You like to be scared.
Yeah,
you like to go into situations where you feel fear."
There's a very good use of, like, it's a very classic anime, like, facial, like, effect to show kind of all this sort of unsettling visage, like have the sideways crescent moon smile. They put that to good use here, and it's like, yeah, when you do draw it, like, on the right face, it looks really creepy.
And they had been like showing her with that face several times where she's like, "I'm manipulating the situation," but it's like, I saw that face that you had, which is exactly the same kind of smile that she has been while she's been manipulating him into this entire fucking situation. Yeah. So everyone's a creep. Hey.
Yep, it's a nice trio of creeps who've all got some different weird thing going on with them. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's the ghost stuff. It feels like almost like a parody of the popular ghost culture things in the pop culture at the moment, but also is a genuine ghost story as well. But it's got funny lines. Yeah, I found it a lot highly enjoyable.
Yeah, I've read about the first chapters of it when they came up on Shonen Jump app. All right, that'd be kind of good. I think I enjoyed it a bit more seeing it in motion. To get extra little kind of bits in it, and the distorted screaming of the birds she traps inside the teddies is really good.
They do a good job with that kind of Foley. They do a good job with the shaking of the dolls. It's a good old school kind of horror. Like, it's not moving.
It's very twitchy and kind of glitchy.
Yeah.
So this is directed by the series director is the guy who did Magical Circle, Guru.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's the screenwriter is the Zombieland Saga.
David.
I'm beginning to understand why people don't use Skype to record their videos. Helck, the hero, episode 1. There's a demon lord's been defeated by a hero, so they're having a competition to decide who the next leader of the demons, the monsters, is going to be.
Who gets to be the next demon king, basically.
Yeah. Who's going to be that?
We'll have a tourney, and whoever's the toughest monster gets to be the next fucking demon king, and then we can invade the human world again. It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
The problem
it's all very well structured. Yeah.
There's this guy who's shown up. He's a goddamn human. And not only is he a goddamn human, he's a goddamn human who all the monsters love. I think he's a sound guy.
Some demoness shows up and she's talking to like a little scully man, and he's like, "Well, there's no rules against the human entering. It's just like you have to want to kill all humans." And look at this footage, and it's him like, "Let's kill all humans," and all the crowd are loving it. And just like the crowd are just like, "Oh, this guy's great. Yeah, fantastic."
Yeah. So our two main characters are Helck, this hero, human hero, and one of the 4 elite lords, Vermilio the Red. And it seems like the plot initially is going to be Vermilio constantly changing the rules of the tournament in the attempt to get Helck eliminated. While her sister wanders around searching for Helck's true history. And by the end of the episode, we discover that he is not actually the hero. The hero was his brother.
He is the hero in that the hero is his brother, but there are two heroes born right now, and he is the anti-hero, I guess. His brother killed the Demon Lord, but he's pro-demon and anti-human, so, I mean, that works out for demons, I guess.
But he's the most reviled criminal in all humankind because he killed his brother, the hero. They may have,
because we see him looking fondly at a photograph he's got of his brother. Or I guess a drawing, maybe. I'm not entirely sure what the technology level is in.
I mean, it's probably a magic photo, basically. Yeah. It's best not to think too hard about it because the show is also like, wait a minute. So we have magic and demons and shit, yeah. And we're gonna try and fuck up Helck by making them everyone build a house of cards. But we're gonna give him the super high glossy one. And I was like, so there's so much print technology that has to be developed before you can have high gloss playing cards. I was just like, what kind of level are we in? Don't think about it. Don't worry about it.
Was the other cooking contest as well, isn't there?
Yeah, which she disguises herself as one of the judges for, so she can give him a flat fucking 0. But his parfait, man, it's on point.
The food doesn't lie. I'm sorry.
I can't lie about a dessert that good, and everyone else going like, I should have made a dessert. Fuck, wasn't thinking. Yeah,
because they're all going up and saying, "Don't you see? Hulk's figured it out." It's like, there's nothing about us saying that we shouldn't be trying to act rage like a cherry was like houses the cards down. He's just like one pushing on through because he's just that strong and everything that totally sound. Everyone's saying, yeah, he's really on something there.
And it keeps like cutting to the audience where you hear some guy going like, yes, it does represent building up the Demon Lord's castle. Now it makes sense. I thought this was bullshit, but now I'm more invested in the weird rules that keep changing every day of the tournament. And yeah, like all of her plans are failed and all of her theories fail. When initially in the tournament, like he's fighting another monster, and she's like, "Oh, he's gonna take out," because we got a magic barrier up. That means that you can only hurt someone inside the arena, but they can't hurt anyone outside of the arena, and also no magic can hurt them while the tournament's taking place. It's all like very specific, so you can't take out your opposition outside of the arena, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's even like, he's panning around with kind of like, I'm kind of like, like the rogue type character. But he's just panning around with him, fucking, hey man, check it out, we fucking bash each other for a time, we can't hurt each other. Oh yeah, man.
They're having a good time the whole time of it. But I like to think of her as like, she's, because I was thinking the same thing as her initially until I realized, oh no, he's just straight up wants to kill all humans, it seems. Like he's here to take out all their strongest guys who would be the great Demon Lord. But like he takes out one guy and is like, he's coming over for the finishing blow, and he pulls out a hand to pull it back up. It's like, that was a good match, my friend. Well met. It's like, oh no, he's really nice, and everyone likes him, even people who lose to him.
Which starts wondering, maybe like was fun saying, anyways, enough of that shit. There's like a battalion of fucking like soldiers like coming over the hill like the fun attack us right this second. But what the fuck? And she's kind of wondering, this Hulk guy, is he like some kind of Trojan horse they snuck in the fucking occupiers? You kind of wondering, what's his deal? Why is he here when this happens?
Are all our strongest warriors compounded by the magical contract that they signed? So it's just like, we need this tournament to end, because if we don't have all our strongest fighters who are currently like, they can't damage anyone outside of the arena, and there's an army of winged knights coming, it's just like, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, because we'd have no defenders.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable premise, and the jokes are funny.
Yeah,
but it doesn't look very good. It's got a big problem, and the big problem is... you've got very slow and garbled there, Dwayne. And you're just pixels now on my screen. Problem is, it's set in a stadium. Stadiums are terrible for cartoons.
Yeah, it's not I think that's a little thing for why determined Derek, not this shit again. This gonna take so long to get to. So it's like, yeah, I can see why, because you get bogged down in the actual setting of the thing. Like Golden Build Fighters had the right idea, but we'll set all the holograms. It can be anywhere, and this makes it a lot more interesting. But yeah, you got to fire the imagination a little bit more. And when it's something as banal as putting up houses of cards, it needs a little bit of pizzazz to get it across. I just sense of humor. I mean, it's a very incredulous One Punch Man style. He can't do that, can he? Well, more like Martial, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the rules that says a dog can't be the Demon Lord. It's very
which is why several dogs have applied for the position. But I think I'm enjoying it more as well because I'm reading through Dragon Quest Die. So it's kind of like, this is they gotta elect the new fucking Demon Lord because the last one got taken out because he gets taken out several times over the course of that comic. It's fun, but I hope that they started it off with the tournament so they can immediately cancel it next episode, basically.
It's I guess the thing that they figured out who this guy is, and I made the decision is just because I get from the opening that she's just gonna follow him around and watch this dude and see what he gets up to, and see if he's catching cut out, if he means what he says about wanting to kill all humans. And again, that shows the other side of it. There's other hints in it that you seem to be just living as out in the streets, from just downtrodden in the mud of people just kind of passing by. It's maybe being the hero of legend isn't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, so he's accused of murdering his brother, and yet he seems to still love his brother from what he was looking at the photo. And then we've got these mysterious and angelic beings, who I assume are going to be the actual villains of the scenario.
Because I think every demon we've seen is quite likable.
Yeah, this is an attack and dethrone god kind of scenario, I think, ultimately.
They're very popular. Then, one person we probably could trust to attack and dethrone god, me and Roboco, episodes 9 through 14.
Also, if you piss her off, she might destroy all humans, so yeah.
Yes. Episode, if she's not, it's very strange. There's various things which seem to indicate that Roboco might be human, even though there's plenty of evidence to say that she's not.
Nope.
Episode 9, Secrets and Roboco. Hey kids, you want a Boys Before Flowers parody? Because we got one for you. Here it is, in me and Roboco form. So it's all about the 4 boys in town who are the biggest fans of Roboco.
Also, her secret life where everyone in town knows her, that kind of way, yeah.
She's a local idol.
Me and Roboco 10, Twitter and Roboco. Already out of date because Twitter don't work like this.
Unfortunately.
I mean, that's not to the fault of Roboco. That's entirely that dipshit's fault.
When a chapter came out, it was cutting edge. I tell you.
Roboco and it still has the little QR code that you can scan to follow her on Twitter.
Yes, but if you don't have if you're not logged into Twitter though, you won't see anything anymore.
Yeah.
No free rides. So yeah, it's Bungo wants to learn how to use Twitter, and Roboco explains, and we get various gags. I think my favorite gag is the girl who's obsessed with games and wondering who these mysterious people are on her phone that she's got photos of, which
because it's her transforming into various kaiji-like characters. I also like the Gachi Gorilla doesn't have many followers because he follows a lot of highbrow fucking shit. it's not for everyone, basically.
He's got to figure it out, man. It's just like a window out into the world, man. That's gonna just climb right on through and see who I meet. It's just like
you fucking know Gachi Gorilla is already on Blue Sky with just all his mutuals. Yeah, yes. He's good.
Roboco 11, Snow and Roboco. Can't remember what happened.
Roboco.
It's where they have to fight for the cool snow parking lot area with the sextuplets. one of which is giant. Just like just one really big one.
I think with the first appearance of the Hunter x Hunter arena judge,
Yes,
who will
this
be
is
a
his
regular
first
occurrence in many
appearance.
chapters to come.
He randomly shows up here. Nobody knows why, and he is going to randomly show up whenever necessary, basically. Yeah.
Episode 12, Big Eaters and Roboco. Bungo has accidentally got himself involved in a competitive eating competition.
But like a serious anime one, not a regular like neighborhood one, which he thought he was gonna do. Yeah.
Yeah, they got quite like they got quite the arena booked out for like this supposedly small restaurant which is sponsoring the event. Just like, no, oh, nobody could actually win it because if they could feed meals for you, it could bankrupt the restaurants. We were doing this to try and like, no, it's trying to save it. But like, I'd say the sponsorship alone, they just fired out this big stadium has probably done the job for it. But anyways, yeah.
So Roboco tags in, and she's great all the rounds except for eating ramen, and they have to explain how to do it.
So hot. Oh, my lips.
It's too hot.
So her solution is just to eat it bowls and all.
Just swallow them whole. Which they kind of like the other competitors are just like, that's bullshit. She's a robot. That doesn't count. And she's like, she's using science, and it's like, yeah, if you call like working really hard and like just going with your gut and your friends supporting you science, then yes, it was science that won. Yeah, that's what they were saying. That's why it's against the rules. You're inhuman, Roboco.
Is this the episode where she gets a pimple? There's an episode of Book Thieves where she gets a pimple. I was like, how are you getting a pimple, Roboco?
It was the Twitter one where she was explaining that she wanted people to tell her she was cute despite having a pimple. Yeah.
That was it. Okay. Mum and Roboco they're attacked by the evil scientist and his robots again.
On one of the days, with Roboco has been depowered and re-cutified.
Yes. So Mum has to step in and fight them.
Only because one of Roboco's tits is about to fall out, and she's cute currently. So that's not.
Gorilla get you soften him up. All right.
That's fair. He did.
You took out the crab robot first, you know. And saying, "Oh my gosh, it's fun." Even open-handed was too much, and that was bugging me. I think that was like something in particular. It was this is of course like it's like absolutely lousy with fun shonen jump references, you know. Don't automate like your follower count. It's like a power level in Dragon Ball. Oh, now I see, yes.
Yes.
She was also comparing the crab monster to Brawly and her to Yamcha in her current state, and it's like, wait, the crab guy's that powerful? How powerful are you usually? Yeah.
Mum uses Mihawk's techniques as well.
It's the smallest knife I've got.
Yeah.
And then Mons and Roboco is one of the other maid robots has been modded, and so Roboco decides to get some mods as well. I believe this is the one where she ends up turning into a bike at the end. Is this?
No, that's the.
That was separate.
That was separate. That was Secrets. Is the bike?
She was saving up to get a secret custom bike for Bondo, which is just like, oh yeah, it's like it's a Roboco bike. He's just like, haha, it's like, oh, it's some new, but he is actually have a lot of fun with it. And you can go up to 100 kilometers per hour on it as well. It's a good bike.
Which is why he's pulled over by the police. Yeah.
So what mods does she get?
She initially gets like a couple of mods where
I remember now. She turns into a D at the end.
She's right, enlightenment.
She achieves perfection by becoming a knee, and they're all just like fucking houses, and she's like, I'm going to become the knee of the world, and they're like, what does that even mean? And even the visual where she attaches onto the bottom of the planet is just like, I still don't understand what's happening here. Neither does anyone. Roboco has surpassed it, but if you compliment her enough, she might go back to normal. Compliment her old form, not her current perfect form as a knee.
You're so enlightened. Yes. Say it again.
Coming. And the only one who can save us is, of course, Gorilla Gachi, because he likes Roboco like quite a lot. Except she has a flat top now. So that's the new design.
You have to say that again, Greg, because you max headroomed on us.
Okay. Gorilla Gachi likes her the most, so he can compliment her the best. So he brings her back to normal, except she has like a J. Jonah Jameson flat top now.
Yeah.
everything's back to normal except for that.
You know, it'll grow back.
Again, she does not make sense as a robot, so
this brings
don't think
us
about it.
halfway through the series.
Hmm.
We're at the midpoint.
All right.
I will say, like, generally I don't like mainlining things, but I did mainline like a bunch of these in a row, and they are actually very fun to do. I will give them that.
It was very easy. Yes.
Yeah.
It was good. And I was just receiving the kind of like, you know, the riddles of things I do enjoy. I already enjoy it from the comic, but in the kind of, again, it's heightened in animated form. Just any time with this, you know, like looking guy playing with a gadget just goes like, oi oi. Just such a short of it's like a 10-year-old boy but be the biggest badass there. Just like, oi oi oi. Oh, cracks me
The
up.
voice acting is great.
Thanks, Max. Episode 2 of Undead Murder Farce, Vampire, in which we get what I feel like should have been the first episode. I'm curious as if everything in the first episode is a flashback later in the novel, because this felt like the opening of a mystery novel to me.
It does like kind of work better as an introduction to the thing as well, because it's the overall like premise of it is that everyone knows what fun ghosts and goblins and monsters are, and you know, some of them like, you know, would probably live alongside some of those kind of prejudice things, and so it's like, oh, like a father and son out for a hunt, like, oh, he misses the shot on the deer, beast full swoops amongst the trees with his red eyes closed, just fucking brings it down and biting it in the neck. It's just like, oh, Dad, how are we going to use a gun this time? I'm not used to these things at all. Anyways, let's go back to the hunt to the family lodge. A gas! There's been a murder.
Someone has staked the mother of this family of vampires, and the police are just not doing a good enough job. So she's gonna have to call in.
Because they're racist against vampires.
That's the only explanation.
It seems to be a mix from the neighborhoods. Some are racist, some aren't. Seems to be some sort of treaty has been signed to allow vampires to live in peace among humans.
He signed an official document saying, he's like, listen, I'm not going to fucking eat any humans. And he's like, when the press are kind of gathering outside his mansion, kind of like, hey, what are you going to do about this? Hey, what's going on? He's like, listen, I haven't eaten a human in 30 fucking years. I'm clean and sober, all right?
So they're going to have to call in some experts who recently solved a merfolk situation. A couple of detectives from the east are going to come and solve this, and they show up, and they think it's the vampires either think or is trying to frame it as a vampire hunter has shown up. All the evidence suggests that it's probably a member of the household.
An inside job.
Yeah, because they'd recently been attacked by a vampire hunter, and they kept the silver stake, but he put it in the storeroom locked up. But obviously, when he initially goes to look at that, the chain has been completely snapped off, and he's like, "Oh shit, I better check on the rest of the family." And that's when he finds his wife. So the tools were there available to anyone for it to be an inside job. Yeah.
Yes. And there is a strange look of serenity upon the wife's face as she lay there, and she wasn't like vampire. She was turned at some stage. So like,
yes,
was there some kind of trouble there with that identity perhaps?
Yeah, because the evidence would suggest that it's the guy who called them in that has done it. Because it's like only two people know how to get to the stake, which was the butler, who's a human, and the dad.
Well, they were the only one who had the keys, but the chain was completely torn off. So
yes,
presumably a superhuman vampire
strong,
could do with that.
Yes.
And so he has his two sons and his daughter, who are also vampires, obviously. And the maid and the butler are the only humans in the
which
in the
makes
place.
you wonder whether they begrudge being. Are they eternally trapped in youth?
I was wondering, was the butler sore because it's like, why didn't you fucking bite me while I was still young, and then I'd be an immortal vampire butler? Now I'm an old man butler. That kind of way, yeah.
That how it works, unfortunately. I'm sure some kind of like, codes and statutes about this.
You can't bite the staff. That's one.
And so yes, our heroes have got the facts, and that's where we leave it off. We introduced. She's not a spunky cockney street urchin. She is a
French.
She's a Tintin, is what she is.
That's right, actually. Yeah. I mean, like, she's ginger and everything. Yeah. Good point. Like in the first episode, where they're talking about this is a world where it's like our timeline, it's like our Meiji era, but like with shit they're existing. Whereas this, like, it casually has the press kind of coming to it, like, Mr. Vampire, have you any word for the press? And you see the newspaper titles of this family related to the Frankensteins in German or something like that. And
family, the Vampire, the Mort incroyable.
Yeah. You kind of see the headlines as Dad's talking about. There's these detectives from the Orient that are good at solving monster cases, and we see the various newspapers from around the world, that kind of thing. I think it's better presented here than it is in the first episode, even though I enjoyed the first episode.
Yes, because here they've got our two heroes and their maid have got a rapport. It's a slightly annoying rapport. They do come across as two people who think they're funnier than they actually are.
They're enjoying each other's jokes, kind of thing, but no one else is. Not even the maid. Yeah.
Well, she's always stone-faced, though, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that's true.
And it feels much more like it feels like it's a pulp is what it is, particularly because in the opening credits, if you go and look at the web page, they're not shy about who any of these people are. We're going to get an arc later on, which is the Phantom of the Opera versus Arsène Lupin.
Yeah.
Nice.
All your favorites.
With Mamoru Miyano voicing Arsène Lupin. So
the father was born to play, baby.
Should be pretty good. And there's werewolves and Frankensteins in future arcs as well. So it also
but I like the fact that these werewolves and Frankensteins are going to show up like regular fucking things. Like that's going to be nice.
Yeah. Also, if you look at the website, you can make a pretty good guess who it actually is who chopped the head off and nicked the body.
Was it Moriarty?
Oh no! I mean, who's got the half body blood? Yeah.
Right. Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah.
It would be nice if he just was like, I'm a lady now. It's cool. Sherlock Holmes will never catch me now.
It's just the same, like, long, curly people on a vivacious body.
You might be on something there, but that's not revealed there. But there is a character there. You go, he's connected to Moriarty. But yeah, he's the guy who's been given demon blood and has chopped her head off. Yeah, so caution of that. But yes, the Phantom of the Opera is clearly in the opening credits because there's a guy with a Phantom of the Opera mask.
Promises a lot of fun, and this episode is still fun, so yeah, it works.
It is, yeah, and like I say, it's so much better as the first episode.
It is really just weird where it decides to cut before it goes to the end credits, though. It's just as fun. Just to go like, but that was fun. And then there's a stop, this dead stop. It's just like, okay, or no lead in, like, the case is that the game is afoot, and you kind of anything like that. No.
She was just pointing out the 7 inconsistencies in the Vampire Lord's story, which she has your man count on his fingers, and he's like, Mistress, I've ran out of fingers. Like, stick your tongue out or hop on one leg. I don't fucking care. Just indicate that I'm counting to 7. He's like, I can't quite do that. And she's like, I'll save the other 2 for next episode. Credits roll, basically.
Who's the real dummy here? Not me. He's like, yeah.
There's a very long sequence at the start, especially considering the last episode. We established that she's a severed head in a cage, where the Vampire Lord is like, Is the maid talking? Because their lips aren't moving. Why is that? Why also do you have a bird cage, if I may ask? It's like, well, that's me, the actual detective.
Detective, please. This is where my wife was brutally murdered. Could we show some decorum, please?
Yeah, he's getting a little. They're being pretty rude, basically. Yeah.
Then we got Jujutsu Kaisen season 2, episode 26. I guess episode 26 overall. Jujutsu Kaisen. Hidden Inventory, episode 2.
Summer holidays. The opening like very much is just like again you're so used to this like being kind of bathed in shadow or kind of sunset things and or spooky. It's just like no, it's blue skies and pantries. It's going on a summer holiday.
All these characters are going to be fine. Yeah.
Yes, mostly gotta keep this girl away and keep her safe until she is to be subsumed into like Tengen, who withholds the barrier against all evils running the entire country. But before she does, she gets to do whatever she wants. But even though she's like she well, I don't mind being like fun, but she my great destiny and being subsumed into the being called Tengen because I was still some part of me would still be there fun. Tengen is me and I'm Tengen, so it's gonna be cool. Yeah, but you can't go to school or see your friends or for this place cinema, or ice cream. That's out the window. I'm sorry. So whatever she wants to do, Ghetto and Gojo and Resti, you let her do it. So she wants to go hang out with her friends, you get to hang out with her friends. She wants to do karaoke, she can go to karaoke. Do not embarrass her.
Yeah, Tengen has basically said, is like, listen, she's going to be me, so I got to give her at least like the last couple of days of freedom that she gets, because then she's going to be stuck in the interdimensional space that I'm stuck in for the rest of her existence as me. But also the cult from the last episode are immediately defeated before the credits have rolled at the start of this one. They weren't a threat at all. I believe the actual threat is the guy who's down at the bookies. The boat races specifically. Yeah.
This is Toji, the sorcerer killer. He's like the top hitman in this kind of thing. He's got a particular set of skills. I don't want him to get in his way, but until he actually absolutely has to, it's just going to kill time, just like betting on speedboats. But he's not doing nothing enough. Well, no, he can do it all remotely because they don't trust him to finish out the job essentially. So they've put out a bounty on the girl to attract any kind of wannabes in their phone saying that's just fine because I'm trying to play the long game here. Because you got fucking like Satoru Gojo there, and he's just like he is like a prodigy among prodigies. Even a guy like me is going to have a bit of trouble with that. So I'm going to send in like a wave of a cannon fodder, let them take him out.
So his handler is like initially worried because it's just like, if we use what we've been paid to kill this girl to pay someone else to kill the girl, they're just going to bypass us and go straight to the contract fucking the bounty hunting guys in the meantime. And he's like, no, I'm just using those guys to weaken them. They're basically working for free. All of them are going to get killed by Gojo. It's going to go exactly my way, just like the next boat that's going to come in that's on my ticket. That boat failed. He's like, damn it, I'm really bad at betting on things.
Oh, in a matter of time, don't worry about it. But he is pretty much right, because like when like a bunch of some weirdos show up and try to hassle them, they just want to do it in short order. Gojo's just like levitating him around, just like explain. Oh yeah, I can basically like infinitely like contract things. It's an unlimited kind of space, and also I can infinitely repel things. You can do like kind of cool stuff like this, and just fucking throwing them around, expanding, contracting. This one, like swapping things up. We can go real hard. I can do like infinite expansion and just do finger guns and go. Oh, I'm still working on that one, but anyways, pop. I'll get back to you. The old man is just kind of summon monsters as well. Underestimates like get up and saying, this guy is just like a caster. He's just someone like all the curses he gathers up in his little pouch and he just throws them out. Once it gets like into the close range, it'll be no problem. Gets into close range and finds himself trapped in a wonderful memory of like, he was a kind of creepy kid and normally like not even his family, but he had this dog, and this dog really looked up to him.
The family dog. I haven't seen you for 60 years when you died. And it's like, wait a minute. Oh, my life is flashing before my eyes because I'm fucked. All right.
Because this guy knows karate. He's beating the shit out of me. Yep, the maid is pretty handy as well, because there's like a muscle-bound Mook shows up with a paper bag over his head. He's just like, squaring up the phone and saying, all right, Siobhan, I'll get serious. And she's fucking just working the broom and just fucking doing both stuff and goes for a sweet nut shot, right the middle.
Their only main regret is they do have to take her out of the regular school day that she wanted to go to with her friends because they're currently being attacked by assassins. So, retreat back to Jujutsu High. Yeah.
The one thing we said we wouldn't do was embarrass her. I wonder if Gojo will call that teacher. Maybe. It's very improper. He's only still in school himself. Again, just fun thing. I'm here for the stunts because I know precisely how this is going. And it's a real, again, more the kind of humorous end of it, which, particularly if you're reading the comic right now, it's like, well, it seems like kind of worlds away from it.
Yeah.
So you can have to get, oh yeah, it did have these kind of these bits in it as well. Forgotten about. Even with the dude in the comic right now whose power is a comedian I think he's as strong depending on how bad his jokes are. It's like that. Where's that guy? I haven't seen him in ages. You gotta get him back in the season because you gotta have nice fucking this little balance of things. But and it's just fun to watch and look at. And I'll probably just season. I went and see kind of told you go off, because he's the guy. He's a good kind of threatening character, but he just looks like this guy going around in the fucking the tracky bottoms in the t-shirt. He's just fucking in this betting on speedboats. It's just like, what a fucking waster. Knocks over a guy's fucking bowl of food. And he's on the phone. And the guy's going, "Hey, you gotta pick it up. You gotta pick it up." He's just like, "What's that?" He's fucking the guy. He's going up to the guy. He falls over him, so he's kind of crouching down for insane. So yeah, anyway, like I was saying, it's just like fucking. He doesn't even break this drive the phone call he's on. It's like one menacing he is.
And just to make him more of a scumbag, at one point his handler guy asked him, is like, "Oh, how's your kid?" He doesn't say kid, he says the kid's name, and he's like, "Who?" Main character in the actual show, never heard of him. Sorry.
This guy who's just fucking legendary killer in the occult world. Absolute deadbeat loser in the physical material world. What a dumbass.
Then we've got Bungo Stray Dogs returns with season 5, episode 51, The Strongest Man. First half, our heroes are at a bit of a low ebb, starting with, well, first of all, there's been some terrorism caused by exploding currency.
Yeah, and obviously our heroes are to blame for it because we know the conditions under which the thing works.
Yes.
No one will question, in a position of authority, no one will question that they are the actual terrorists of this situation. Yeah.
Kudakida survived being blown up, but he no longer has hands.
So how can he write in his book?
Yes.
No.
So your man's kind of like, "Hey, I like the way you used one of our boys to block that explosion, but it did blow your hands off, so you can't do it. Tell you what, though, you join us hunting fucking dogs, and then we'll get you robot hands or something." It's not clear, but we will have
soldier serum that they all have.
They might grow his hands back, yeah. But you'll have to have constant re-ups of those medications, so you'll be loyal to us. Think about it, huh? Betray your fucking boys. So I'm getting you to destroy your ideals. Also, I've torn your book of ideals that says ideals on it in two, and I'm throwing them at you and making fun of you for having no hands. I'm a bastard.
Obviously, irony being, if you've just come from the previous episode, one of his boys has just had what he thought was his ideals replaced with his actual ideals. He's remembered the truth.
Yes. Lomport Mafia, baby.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Lucy's extra-dimensional world, Atsushi has passed out.
Unconscious. Seemingly Sigma, who was the overseer and manager of the Sky Casino that blew up in the end of the previous series. There, he seemingly transferred some amount of information in fucking their thing before you dropped them into the clouds. And he knows the location of where the page wherever you write, and it comes into reality. As long as it makes sense as a story, though, it has to have narrative, actual weight, and
tie up the loose ends.
But before
but our boy with the glasses doesn't know that yet.
Because he's like, he's been infected by the virus.
With that disease power. Yeah. So I better, those girls are absolutely not going to take him out. So I better pull out my gun and fucking shoot him while they're looking at their boy. Oh, he got up.
He's going to shoot them, isn't he? He's going to shoot them.
I assume he's going to shoot them and then him is the thing. He's going to shoot everyone, basically. He's not to be trusted.
Yes, and before we get to that bit, we've got Sigma has survived falling because we saw him get rescued by Gogol, who explains that in order to learn free will, he had faked his death because he was supposed to have died. To prove that free will exists, he's going to betray his best friend and kill Dostoevsky. So, Sigma, can you tell me what his power is?
I saved you specifically so you could tell me what his power is. How did you save me from the fall? It's like, you know, like in Portal, where you fall through a portal and then you fall up through the same portal. I did that, but losing momentum for you. Also, I'm portaling your blood back into your body, which is like healing if you think about it. All of his magic tricks are portals. Yeah.
Yosano is about to get executed. Everything. Is there anybody else who's in a real bad state before everything gets flipped on its head?
The chief.
We basically see
Chief is being let out as well. As we know that
Atsushi basically say it's the page is in the hands of what was the
Kamui.
other guy? Kamui. The page is in the hands of Kamui, and then we see Kamui, this guy in like a gas mask, and that guy with a gas mask has showed up to kidnap.
Well, they say them Kamui, and then you see this person appearing in a gas mask in a threatening manner to Dako, and then around Yosano, and then when a chief is being let out for another interrogation as well. I've actually been lit up onto the roof. They're going to throw him off.
So Kamui is enacting their plan, basically. Yeah.
And Katai, the guy I always have to remind you, is a member of the detective.
The futon man.
Yes, the futon man. Yeah, his place gets raided.
Basically, there's a guy standing outside his room, and the guy won't even let him have his phone. So he's just like, "Oh man, I can't do anything without internet connection. It sucks." But he's been kidnapped by a phone, as it happens. Yeah.
Dazai and Dostoevsky yakking away in their prison. But Dazai explains that he doesn't need to do anything, because the strongest man in the agency will
stand the case.
Yes, he will solve everything. He's stronger than the ability users. It's Rampo. And then the second half of the episode, we see how indeed Rampo is the strongest man.
Here's how I did it.
Yes, with a little bit of help from Poe that he then downplays.
I was there too.
Yeah, I took the place of the sniper, and I instead of shooting him, I shot the electronic lock so Rampo could get in. And also, I helped out in this. I just like, shut up, Poe. It's like, okay.
Essentially, he deducted what events were going to happen from the book, and he did the events instead.
So instead of blowing up the armored car that was off the explosive, so the guys would get out and form a perimeter. But before that, I replaced the engine in their armored car with an electronic engine and had it just play regular engine sounds, so that when they walked away from it, I just turned off the engine sounds and just drove the electronic car quiet as you like, way down the side road. And I was hiding behind a mirror, like in that episode of JoJo's.
So that was the one that was really like, okay, I've read a lot of things about the little tiny things about human psychology, how we kind of filter out things in the environment, and saying to filter out that much. Not you saying this cartoon is unbelievable.
So essentially, all the people who were about to kill all our members were actually Rampo and Poe rescuing
doing the murder before it was a murder and actually breaking everyone out. Yeah.
Yes. So he's got the gang back together for the most, and then now he's going to go and do his final part of the plan, which is call a bunch of journalists and explain exactly what's happened.
There's a press conference where they're like, "We got to get these terrorists." It's like, hey, wait a minute. There's one of the terrorists sitting in the chair, asking for I thought coffee was served at these kinds of events.
Yep, I knew you would say that. So here's what I was going to be. In fact, there's probably some file that I have sent this to every law enforcement agency across the country. It's in the bin right now because you're all brainwashed into believing this. Go check in your bin right now. I bet it'll be there. And the guy's going, where did that come from? And then
it hasn't even been opened. It's like it was instantly not believed, as if by magic, by the thing that he's explaining to us right now in a press conference. Yeah. And as he points out, the press is like, okay, all you guys recognize that I've saved thousands of people, including law enforcement agents. And at the time, there are SWAT team trained in him. Isn't that right? He points to one of them, and the guy's like, oh shit, yeah, you did save my life. And it's like, yeah. So if I'm so fucking smart, how would I get caught? Huh? Think about it. I would have covered up the fucking crime if I'm so fucking great at solving crime.
Yes.
So logically, it's a frame up.
Look, just follow me here. Magic page, okay? Magic book, okay? It's you trust me, don't you? You trust me.
Yeah, it's basically his argument is if I was so clever, yeah, I was so clever and capable of, I'm clever already for all these crimes I've solved, and if I was committing this terrorism, how have I allowed myself to get caught?
Why would I put myself there at the scene of the fucking crime with evidence about it? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Also, I put in the evidence why it doesn't fucking... I've even got the receipts of the chainsaw that cut all those people in half that connects those in no fucking way, and the police ignore it. Isn't that a bit weird, lads? And he's saying this obviously to the journalist. He's saying this to the journalist because they're not under the conditions of not believing the evidence like the fucking... like the police are. Yeah. But he asked the police to, like, what was it? Like, don't believe in the...
Yeah.
Not your faith in your job, your faith in solving fucking crime, the interior thing, the thing that makes you want to solve crimes, not the police part of you that wants to solve crimes, because that part I can talk to.
And we see Minoru, who we've met previously, grabbing the evidence from the bin and going ahead and investigating, doing some detective work. So we know by the end of this, there's at least one officer on his side.
We need one good cap. There's got to be one good cap in these ranks.
And that's where we leave it as a cliffhanger. Yeah, this is my favorite sort of story of like, and this is how it was really done. I will fall for that every single time.
It's not clever, but it is exceptionally fucking fun. Like, I like some things of like, ooh, the mirrors and the electric engine and like all these fucking like magician's tricks, and it's like, how did you get the hacker guy out? Oh, we downloaded him into a book. It's fucking, it's like we can do that.
Yeah, but it's as well like because obviously he's the dude dude who has no powers, whatever does that. I think that does he know he doesn't have any? He just acts like it. Anyways,
we don't know.
He's observed and looks like everybody else. He kind of knows like the best kind of like application of who the best person that to take for this bit of the heist, let's say, because probably when you like solve a lot of crimes, you probably think a lot about how crime is committed like in turn. So you can probably would think, oh, you could be like the master criminal, but you decide to be on the side of justice instead. And it's refreshing to come into one of these things back into it again, and it's just back in. We've already found no speed bump of a book you got to adapt to get out of the way, but put it straight back into it. No waiting. Give us the good stuff.
Yeah, I think I watched this after I'd watched Helck, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is how you frame a shot. This is how you fill in the background. This is how just everything looks nice. I was like, oh, this is just so comfy watching more Bungo Stray Dogs again.
It's just good. Like, particularly like tons that one good cap out there. If you can just come forward and do it. So it just felt very police procedural fun. Saying, come on, forget what City Hall tells you what to do. Fun, think for yourself. Remember that time you were just a beat cap on the streets? It was instincts. I'm reaching out to them right now.
I know this is part of a bigger arc that I believe still hasn't finished in the comic, so we could be waiting a long time for season 6.
I'm glad it came back very quickly, but yeah, the next season, who the fuck knows when it's going to happen? Yeah.
That's fine. This was a highlight of the week.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, there's a few interesting stuff. Then 2 more things. It's just the shorts. It's Hyakushou, Kizoku. Is it Noble Farmer? Is that what
Noble Farmer?
Yeah, something like that.
Episode 2, after saying this won't have anything to do with my life, potato.
I think everyone has much potatoes in their life. Everyone where potatoes come from.
Yes.
I liked her talking to the editor about, it's just like talking about the amount of waste potatoes that happens in basically on the farm, and she's like, that's very wasteful. Like over half the fucking crop is like thrown out or recycled or whatever. And she's like, it's like manga pitches, you fucking monster. You've rejected so many of my perfectly fucking, and it was just like, oh fucking, okay, yeah, it's personal now. Yeah, that seems perfectly acceptable to throw away that amount of potatoes. Yes.
Now, it's not as bad as all that. Half of them were good, they get shipped after sale. And then of the other half of them, would say like a quarter that's completely busted, no hope of those. And other quarter then are just kind of wonky shaped. And we can sell some of those, but you can't really, like, the consumer wants a perfectly, like, oval potatoes. We can't.
What she specifically says is we can't sell too many of them because it will lower the price on the nicely shaped potato.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely a little bit different from my experience with potatoes in the UK. Though admittedly that experience is 20 years plus old at this point.
Well, see, the thing I was thinking, like in the UK, Ireland, and Europe and stuff, you've got a lot more potato products. Like, so you can take the ugly ones and turn them into crisps and like mash, like instant mash, that kind of thing. Any of those kind of derivative products from potatoes. Whereas in this, like in Japan, it seems to be mostly just potato starch, which is a good product, but just potato starch seems to be the thing they turn them into.
Yeah.
They relate the story of the poor guy who came to volunteer on the farm, and it's like,
yeah,
this is like
that
one
was
day
great.
ago. Instead of potatoes, you gotta sort them up and saying good, bad, useless, good, bad, maybe good,
she's
bad.
mostly just going like shit, and then another person going like, oh, that's a good size, that's a bad size, like, and his face just getting more and more dejected as another truckload of fucking waste potatoes gets shipped off to the fucking bin.
It's just seeing how the war started, and saying, so do all that, cool. So we sort them up and saying, no, first we gotta wash them, and saying, okay, you wash them to me, some again, good, bad, okay, now they're done. No, we gotta wash them one more time. We gotta just go, okay, good, bad. Then we gotta take all these down to the starch factory, and then the other rats get shipped out. It's just completely disillusioned by the end of the day. Just
and by the end of it, I'll eat whatever's on my plate. I don't fucking care. All potatoes are beautiful. Because they eat the crap potatoes on the farm. They're just like, they're still good. We'll eat them. And it's punctuated with her eating a to be dumped melon, I think.
It's a wonky squash.
Wonky squash. That was it. It's just like, it's not good for, public consumption, but it fucking tastes pretty good. And it was like, give me some. It's like, I can't. You're the public. Like, it would lower the market. I'd love to give you some of this squash, but I can't legally. It's tough.
Yeah, when I was at the potato distribution company, the lowest grade went to, I can't remember which chain it was, but it was essentially like a Harvester or a Toby's Carvery. Those were the ones who got the worst potatoes.
Okay.
So even ones which went to market were a better grade than the ones which went to those restaurants. From what I remember. And then there's the various supermarket requirements because they've all got different ones above it. But yeah, this was very much things I have experienced. Although not eating packets of crisps which have been dug up. That has never happened to me, which is another thing which happens.
Yeah, the only part of potato industry stuff I've been in is the digging of to plant and digging of to get out part of the stuff. And you do find some weird shit. I've never found a whole packet of crisps because I would have fucking ate that as a child. Yeah.
I assume that is a real anecdote that did happen.
Yeah, I presume so.
They did have that ring of something truly weird and slightly disgusting, but within the realms of reality that you might have experienced.
Was the bag intact? Was it
yeah, that's what
I think that was the suggestion. Yeah, because they're all eating it. It's like, oh, they're pretty good.
Yeah, that to me also feels like my food science brain fighting the farmer's brains, and these people is like, you can't. It's been opened by machinery. You can't eat it.
A farmer knows if a potato is good or not.
It's instinct. It's like hacky. You're just born with it sometimes.
I'm not sure. I just farmer's instinct.
Fourth kind of hacky, farmer's hacky.
Yeah. Then we've got Ikimono-san, episode 2, episode Cat. In which
that made me laugh the most this week.
He picks up a cat, and it's like playing on
the accordion, the accordion's out.
The old joke of cats are made of liquid, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, that looks fun." The dog's like, "Oh, that looks fun," and then they do it to each other, and then the cat sees them, and then in the reality, what they do in reality.
Like again, they start like smooshing each other into the floor, letting each other drip from each other's hands, and then as they often end up doing. And then in reality, they're both asleep, wrestling, and the cat's like, "I've had enough of this."
Yes, and then the cat stretches like Mr. Fantastic onto the roof.
Yeah. kind of melts up there.
Yeah, reverse melts.
The good news is, I read an article because they're playing this at one of the animation festivals. There's 52 episodes of this.
Oh yeah! Oh, fucking right. Good shit. Okay.
This. I hang on for the film omnibus edition. This
No, you wouldn't be able to take it, man. You'd be just
over.
like, you'd be in stitches by the fucking end of it.
No,
Again, this is the most.
Go to the space gate and fucking space fallacies.
This is the most like visually funny and disgusting show as well. It was just like, oh god, I hate looking at that, but it's very, very, very funny. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. As I said last week, I think this is probably going to be my anime of the year.
Yeah.
It's hitting the festival circuit now.
Yeah. I've played one round of the video game, which is you just press a space bar or hold a space bar, and things happen on the screen.
Okay.
Some of them make sense. Some of them are far more surreal than anything that's happened in the cartoon so far. So I'm curious as to how strange it gets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I'm curious as to how many hidden things there are, because there was things. I was like tapping the button and doing that, and then had the one thing I realized, oh, you have to go hold the button for this thing, and then I was like, what happens if you hold the button for other things? Some very strange things happen. Is what happened.
Good shit.
Obviously, it's no longer on sale, so you have to pay all of £2.50, I think, for it now.
That's sorry, I'm off.
So save up or ask for it for Christmas.
It does sound pretty in depth though. It must like like a lot of move lists in there, combinations of buttons and things that you can do to get so many different like things off of it. So hey, all you Street Fighter fans, you get on this. It could be a good like meditation tool when you need to like get into a different zone of mind.
And that's it. There's nothing else coming down the pipe as far as I know. Unless there's things on Netflix.
I looked at some things. I did have like, cause it was up as well. There's at Fate Strange Fake. I think it's the second the before the actual series starts. Yeah, it's basically let's get all of the servants together because we can just kick this thing off when it happens. And it's some odd things happening in it, which are intriguing me. It's basically set up, but like we have. That last Holy Grail War. We're going to have our own Grail War in America, and we'll have like no sabers, because for sabers that are totally OP and broken, so when that class is out, and we're going to do the whole some of the guys out. So I guess like Gilgamesh again. But then other of the users and the servants that appear, one of them that the master is like supposed to be a girl in a medical coma, and her servant appears to her in a dream.
Okay.
And the other like master it's someone's like fucking Enkidu, another figure from the Epic of Gilgamesh and Babylonian myths, and is summoned by a modified magic dog that escaped from its pen. It was wounded, and it kind of yelled out for help and summoned fucking Enkidu for one thing, and the dog was like kind of yowling, going, "Ooh, yes, master, you will be done." This is like what's happening.
Okay, dokie.
The fucking other guy then, like I guess he's a kind of one of the main characters. Like, I just don't want to fight. I don't think all the servants could just be friends. We can talk this Grail War out. And his servant's like, I'm a formless being who seems to be centered around this knife. I didn't know what my name was in my mortal name, my mortal time, but some have called me Jack the Ripper. Wow, gee whiz! Cool story, mister.
I'm sure that'll work out great for him. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. It's it's going to be a Fate thing, so remains to be seen how much of like narratives like influence from Bakuno and so forth would kind of come to forth. Again, it gives maybe a bit in the setting, and you got your Rikasa kind of psychos. He loves like writing as well. So, but they fit in nakedly well into a Fate thing, But as with many things, you go over a long franchise. If you just watch the bits you like, you can just enjoy the bits you like about it. You don't if you kind of get mired in the whole thing. Fate's one of those things. As like watch the bits I think look or sound cool, and this might be one of them. I'll see what happens when the thing starts properly.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Otherwise, we'll be back next week with probably yet a third different way of attempting to put this out. Right. Enough for now.
Cleanse Zeta.
Bye.
Later, gators.